She was talking about Cathy Engelbert directly. She revealed private conversations, you understand, with quotes from this lady, the commissioner, about what she said that came across as dismissive, as derogatory, and unappreciative of the athletes that represent her league.
This wasn't just an ad, it was a stress test, and the WNBA failed it. The From Anywhere campaign starring Caitlin Clark didn't feel like a league moment. It felt bigger, cleaner, sharper. It felt like a global brand operating independently of the institution meant to represent it. Inside league offices, the response reportedly shifted from confusion to alarm, because this wasn't about basketball, it was about control. For years, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert built her leadership around stability, around collective identity, around preventing chaos by refusing to elevate one star above the rest. That strategy worked until it didn't. Nike made a decision.
We're in the WNBA finals, and so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. You know, I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments, and so...
NBA legends, no symbolic handoff, no continuity. Caitlin Clark wasn't positioned as the future of the WNBA. She was positioned as bigger than it. That's when everything broke. At the same time, the league was pushing the Unrivaled project as its off-season solution. They wanted Clark involved. They needed her. Reports say the offer exceeded $1 million. She declined. And days later, her Nike ad outperformed the entire Unrivaled launch combined. That wasn't coincidence, that was leverage. For Cathy Engelbert, this was the nightmare scenario. A star whose value exists independently of league infrastructure. A player whose endorsement power dwarfs league salaries. A rookie whose marketing footprint outshines the institution itself. This isn't just embarrassing, it's destabilizing. Because once players see that value can be created outside league control, loyalty becomes negotiable, authority weakens, the ecosystem fractures. Then came the locker room fallout. Asia Wilson comparisons, veteran resentment, perceived favoritism, escalating tension. Leadership exists to manage moments like this.
Well, I mean, first of all, I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And you know, I think what people need to understand, you know, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. Well, this league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on.
Whether the WNBA, under its current leadership, is big enough for Caitlin Clark. And if the answer is no, then change is not optional. It's inevitable. And this is where the situation stops being theoretical and starts becoming dangerous for the league. Because once a commissioner loses narrative control, the next thing that goes is trust. Trust from players, trust from owners, trust from partners who are deciding where to place their money next. Cathy Engelbert is now operating in a league where none of those groups are fully aligned anymore. Privately, there is growing frustration among team owners who feel blindsided. They invested millions into franchises believing the league would be the central engine of growth. Instead, they are watching Nike capture the upside of the most valuable player in the sport, while the WNBA absorbs the risk.
Clarify first, because it's proxy season, right? No CEO do you just put the base pay in there. You put their bonus, you put their stock options, you put everything. Caitlin has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages this year. So, of course, they're just looking at a base which is collectively bargained. And actually, it's low because she's the #1 pick. She'll make a little more than that. But she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements. She's actually, because she declared to become pro, her endorsements are higher in dollar value. She has a global platform now, not just a U.S. platform. So she's going to do just fine, as will the top players in the league, as every league does. But I realize we still have a lot of work to do, and it's all about the ecosystem.
Cannot ignore the fallout inside locker rooms. So instead, the league drifts, and drifting is fatal during moments of rapid growth. This is also where the Caitlin Clark discourse becomes impossible to manage. For 2 years, leadership tried to keep her framed as part of the system, but the market rejected that framing. Fans do not see Clark as interchangeable. They see her as the reason they showed up in the first place. When leadership refuses to acknowledge that reality, it creates resentment on both sides. New fans feel dismissed. Veteran players feel disrespected. The commissioner absorbs blame from everyone. And then there is the media problem. Every time Engelbert speaks now, her words are dissected not for clarity, but for weakness. When she references ecosystem balance, critics hear avoidance. When she mentions gratitude, players hear entitlement. When she talks about patience, sponsors hear lost opportunity. The authority of the office has eroded. And once that happens, even correct decisions are met with skepticism. This is why calls for resignation are no longer coming from the margins. They are coming from former players, media voices, and industry insiders who understand how fragile this moment is. The WNBA is not fighting for survival anymore. It is fighting for scale. That requires leadership comfortable with imbalance, comfortable with star-driven growth, comfortable letting one player shine without treating it as a threat. Engelbert's background is corporate, structured, controlled. That skill set.
2 kids who are devastated by these comments, and so all I'll say is just, it's obviously been a tough week, and I just think there's a lot of inaccuracy out there.
Wait, the audience doesn't wait. The market doesn't wait. If the WNBA wants to lead instead of follow, it has to confront the reality this commercial exposed. The league's future cannot be managed like its past, and the commissioner cannot cling to a model that no longer matches the moment. This isn't about one ad, it's about one era ending, and what happens next will determine whether the WNBA becomes a global powerhouse or a platform that simply launches stars who eventually outgrow it. The pressure is no longer coming, it's already here.
The question now is simple. Will the league evolve, or will it be left chasing the stars it created? Inside the locker rooms, the tension is palpable. Veteran players who have spent years carrying the league feel overlooked. Every highlight reel, every viral clip, every major sponsorship that favors a rookie sends a subtle but unmistakable message. The hierarchy has shifted. Loyalty and longevity are no longer enough to command attention. In a world where influence moves faster than the game itself,
So that's honestly what I would say. I think there's, Fee said it all with what she said, and, I think the points she made were very valid.
Had you heard that story from her before
No.
she said it publicly? And then have you spoken with Cathy Engelbert or heard from her at all since then?
No.
result, an unspoken hierarchy where perception outpaces performance. And when players feel slighted, tension inevitably spills onto the court, changing dynamics in ways no commissioner can fully control. Meanwhile, the WNBA front office is scrambling to contain the narrative. Emails, conference calls, and private meetings dominate the holiday period. Executives are analyzing every metric, every view count, every comment, trying to figure out how to regain influence. But the truth is simple. Once a player becomes a brand unto themselves, traditional league controls lose potency. Marketing, salary structures, and even media coverage must now bend to individual influence or risk losing relevance entirely. This commercial also exposes a financial imbalance that cannot be ignored. Clark's endorsements dwarf her rookie salary, highlighting the league's inability to monetize its most valuable talent fully. Each play, each campaign, each highlight that earns global attention outside the league's ecosystem strengthens players' leverage in future negotiations. This isn't speculation. Numbers don't lie, and the optics are brutal. Fans see the contrast clearly, making loyalty to the institution secondary to loyalty to the athlete. From a corporate standpoint, Nike's strategy is masterful. By positioning Clark alongside global cultural icons like Travis Scott and the Kelsey brothers, the brand bypasses traditional league channels entirely. It frames her as a universal figure, someone whose appeal exists outside the constraints of the WNBA, the Indiana Fever, or even professional basketball itself. The subtlety of this approach is genius and devastating for league authority. Commissioner Engelbert is left in a delicate balancing act. She cannot publicly chastise
Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the league. Doggy, Peter, Monica, let me say for the record, you should resign. You need to resign. Period. The reason I say that, Doggy, is because when a player, any player, but especially one of that magnitude, attacks you publicly like that, that weak-ass statement Commissioner Engelbert gave is not good enough. And I'm going to say it. It was a weak-ass statement. Could you imagine somebody directing comments and criticisms at you, taking conversations they've had with you directly and telling the world what you said, And did you see that statement Commissioner Engelbert gave? She basically provided no defense of herself. I don't have the statement right directly in front of me, y'all.
Mischaracterization.
A mischaracterization.
She was disheartened.
I'm disheartened at the mischaracterization. What? That was I'm not saying Nafisha Kala personally attacked her. Like, personally, I'm not trying to personalize it like that. But I'm just saying her words were piercing. That was an attack against your leadership. It was an attack against your integrity. It was an attack against your character. And that's the statement you came out with.
Start demanding the same autonomy. Some owners pushed for immediate negotiations with Nike, hoping to create co-branded campaigns where the league benefits alongside Clark. Others argued that bending too far would signal weakness, effectively ceding control over the narrative. Discussions reportedly became heated, with debates over whether the league should embrace a star-first approach or cling to the traditional collective-first model. Sponsors, meanwhile, were circling like vultures, eager to align with Clark's skyrocketing global influence. Nike's dominance in this campaign sent a message: if you want attention, you go straight to the player. Other brands, from Gatorade to State Farm, began evaluating their own marketing strategies, weighing whether to invest in league campaigns or put all resources behind individual stars. The result is a delicate game of power and positioning. The league can either negotiate hard for its share of sponsorship revenue or risk being sidelined while players become their own brands. What's notable is how quickly influence shifted. Clark's campaign forced a re-evaluation of league priorities. Teams that once focused purely on player development and winning championships were now forced to consider branding, media visibility, and off-court engagement as core elements of success. In short, the WNBA ecosystem was entering a new era, one where business strategy matters as much as basketball IQ. A tense prediction for the 2026 WNBA season. As the 2026 season approaches, the stakes have never been higher. Fans, players, and executives are all bracing for a year defined not just by wins and losses, but by influence, narrative, and control. Here's what insiders predict. Locker room dynamics will shift. Veteran players may approach the season with skepticism and caution. The stark contrast between Clark's high-profile campaigns and traditional team recognition is likely to cause tension. Expect early season games to feature subtle psychological battles, not just on the scoreboard, but in player interactions, shot selection, and team chemistry. Media attention will revolve around stars. National broadcasts will increasingly highlight individual performances over team narratives. Clark, already the face of the league in media terms, will dominate coverage, while veterans must find new ways to assert their relevance. Storylines about individual influence and rivalry will compete with actual game results for fan attention. Sponsor-driven incentives could reshape play. Expect sponsors to insert themselves more directly into league dynamics. Player-driven endorsements will influence scheduling, marketing campaigns, and even off-court appearances. Teams may now feel pressure to showcase their star talent in ways that align with external brands, creating a new layer of strategic complexity for coaches and executives. Global expansion comes under pressure. With Clark's campaign signaling worldwide appeal, the league's plans for international games, merchandising, and media rights will be scrutinized. Every misstep, like failing to distribute products globally or neglecting overseas fans, will reflect poorly on the league's leadership. The WNBA must now operate as a global brand, not just a domestic league. Cultural and competitive rivalries intensify. Expect the 2026 WNBA season to feature heightened rivalries between established stars and emerging talent. Games could turn into high-stakes showdowns where personal reputation, fan loyalty, and sponsorship visibility are on the line. The product on the court may become secondary to the narrative off it, a scenario that could bring both massive viewership and unprecedented controversy.